Yes, and it was certainly an emotional evening in the White House as well. A lot of the staff that work there and that I work with every day went to a watch party in the Rose Garden, and after he gave that speech, he walked out and addressed them, and you could hear this really loud cheer that went up. I was told by several people who were in that meeting that it was a very joyous atmosphere, a really, really good energy in there, and there was a loud chant of POTUS, POTUS, POTUS that went up as well. But obviously that came after the speech, which was somewhat somber, but also poignant and cheerful as well. It was basically a chance for Joe Biden to defend his record of his presidency thus far, but also describe his vision for the future, the next 6 months, the final 6 months of his presidency, and also to begin to lay out his legacy, as it were. He said it was the privilege of his life to serve the United States. He said he's given his heart and his soul to the nation like many who've come before him. And he also evoked the history of the Oval Office itself, saying that he was surrounded by portraits of former presidents like George Washington, FDR and Abe Lincoln as well. He then said what I thought was the most poignant line in the speech was, "I revere this office, but I love this country more." Joe Biden trying to draw that line, that differentiation between a president who understands when their time in office is over and it's best to pass the baton on to somebody else, and trying to draw that line and that comparison to the previous occupant of the White House who tried to cling on to that office through various legal challenges. So that was something that was quite interspersed throughout the speech, I thought. He said about Donald Trump, "The defense of democracy is more important than any title. I draw strength and find joy in working for the American people. Nothing can come in the way of saving our democracy, including personal ambition." Note, he never actually mentioned Trump by name, but he did go on to say that he thought Kamala Harris was the best person for the job. He said that Kamala was experienced, tough, and capable. And then there was another slight bar about Donald Trump thrown in towards the very end of that speech where he said, "The great thing about America is here, kings and dictators do not rule, the people do." He said the idea of America lies in your hands. So it was a real kind of idea of a signing off of this great statesman. That was the kind of the vision that his team wanted to portray with this fourth and arguably final Oval Office address from Joe Biden.
Let's look forward then, Fraser. Where does it leave the upcoming election in November?
Well, of course, now the mantle passes on to Kamala Harris. She is the presumptive Democratic nominee. Obviously, that still needs to be confirmed officially by the delegates when they vote in the next couple of weeks' time before the convention. But she's already started hitting the campaign trail in earnest. She's already been to visit the headquarters of that Biden-Harris election campaign. Now, the the Harris election campaign, it was in Delaware. The energy, I'm told there from sources who work inside the campaign, was really up, and they were very excited to have her there and to get started on this as well. She then has been in already a couple of key states. She was in Wisconsin, she was in Indianapolis, and she was also now in Texas, in Houston. So she's already hitting the ground running, sending that message that I think it's fair to say Joe Biden failed to prosecute. That is the word that is now being used by everybody here, given Kamala Harris's background as a prosecutor in the United States. So she's starting to push that message, especially the abortion message, the Project 2025 message that Joe Biden failed to mention multiple times on a wider scale, and to go into the detail, that of course being the conservative ideology that they want to overthrow the way that the government is run and actually replace a lot of government workers. So she says that's dangerous, and she is trying to run and hoping that that gets people out to the ballot boxes in November. All eyes as well, of course, on who she's going to be running with. All those vice presidential nominees, there's about 5 or so that we believe are still in contention. They are sending their vetting records through to the former Attorney General, Eric Holder, to be considered for the running nomination. Those include the governor of Pennsylvania, Josh Shapiro, also Roy Moore, the governor of North Carolina, and also the governor of Kentucky, Andy Beshear. The number one favorite, I think, at the moment, though, is Mark Kelly, the senator from Arizona, who is very well liked in the state. It's a state that the Democrats want to win, but it will give them a bit of an issue that they'll have to fill that Senate seat if he does get the VP nom. But many things to watch out for in the coming weeks.